one of the questions that I always have is that a lot of people who are HIV positive, they don't have the courage, or they are a little bit shy of coming out to their partners, especially after having sex. Because a lot of people in
Yeah.
DC, they might have a sexual partner, but they won't tell because they are afraid of the rejection. What do you tell those guys who are already HIV positive, but they haven't told their sexual partners?
Um, I think it's really important that everybody be honest and upfront with their status. Only because you're not giving that other person a choice. And plus, if you think about it, that person needs to have a choice. If they say no, I don't want to be with you, then they're not worth being with. You don't have to worry about it. Just move on, go to the next person. There'll be other people. This is DC. You'll find anything and everything under the sun here. Whatever you're into, whatever kind of guy you're into, there'll be somebody, the carbon copy coming up behind them. It's
True.
very easy to find whatever you need.
But I know some people who are infected or who have HIV, and they have had sex with men who are not, or who are not aware of it. So the fear is that once they tell them, they might have consequences like violence or some sort of negative reaction. Do you think it's worth taking the risk and being honest after the people have had intimacy, or just move on, leave it alone, and be honest with the next person?
That's a hard question. That's a really hard question because you never know what kind of reaction you're gonna get from the person that you're with, or sexually. But honestly, I think that in the long run, being honest is important. It's really, really important because if you don't tell the person when you find out, and then they find out that you've had this disease, this virus for years and not have told them, it'll be worse than what you thought it was gonna be. They might react violently, and they might actually kill you.
Which is not right, but
No, it isn't.
that's how people react sometimes.
Yes, and you have to, but you also have to be respected that you're putting that other person's health on the line. You might use condoms, yes, but you never know that one night that you forget, or that you're drunk or high or whatever, that your inhibitions are down. You might have unprotected sex with your boyfriend, and then you might pass on the virus, or girlfriend.
How do you feel about, in one side, we hear let's be safe, but in the other side, gay life can be very tempting and very, people can fall into behaviors that are not healthy.
Yeah.
What's the best self-defense? Because here we have to, I guess, take a way of living that we can protect ourselves, okay, infected or not. And it's a difficult time that we have to live. But personally, what do you tell young gay men, especially African American, how serious is this?
This is very, very serious. I mean, it's kind of funny because when I did this PSA, I had a condom in one hand and I had my pills in another. And I said, okay, you could either use this condom whenever you have sex, or you're gonna have to take these pills every single day of your life until you die. And who knows when that's gonna be. I'd rather just use the condom whenever I'm gonna have sex. And always carry a condom with you. This is so serious, it's not even funny. I mean, people think that they can just take these pills and they'll be okay, they'll be fine. And it's not true. It's not true. I had a scare with my T-cell count. My T-cell count went down to 260 recently. And I just got my blood work back, and now it's back up to 500. So I was very scared for a long period, for a month.
What would happen if it goes lower than that?
If it goes lower than that, then I would have an AIDS diagnosis, which is under 200 T-cells, which I would be clinically diagnosed with AIDS, not HIV.
And that would mean you can die of anything.
That could mean that that just means that my body is higher risk of being infected by some opportunistic disease, and then that could kill me. Not AIDS, but the disease.
Now, one thing that I also wanted to talk about that I've noticed in black and brown communities is not only gay people, but straight or bisexual men who are very much involved with anonymous sex. Have you ever run into straight men who have tried to hook up with you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Now,
were you honest and told them about your status?
I was honest, and the thing is, I usually don't like guys that are in that situation because I'm very open about my sexuality.
Right.
I'm even open about sexuality at work and even about my status.
But I know gay men who really like straight men or bisexual men.
Yeah, I do. I know some people that do like that, and that's okay. But you have to understand that some of these guys' mentality when it comes to sex is not. They're not worried about protecting themselves because they're out putting themselves out there like that. Some of them are like that. You just gotta weave and bob and weave through them. So I've had people that try to hook up with me that are straight, that have wives and girlfriends and all
Right.
that.
And usually it's just about sex.
Yeah, it's just about sex. A lot of them are not emotionally tied to you. And you might think that they're great. You might actually think that this could actually grow into something. The likelihood of that is very high.
And that's when it comes to what you mentioned before, self-esteem.
Yeah, and you're out looking for this person to love you, but yet they don't love you. They just love your sex.
True. And well, that was, and especially in DC, it's a high percentage of HIV infection. Why DC is like that?
I think that a lot of the messaging has been lost. Like back in the 80s and 90s, people were so scared because their friends were dying like all the time. It was, weeks and weeks of people just dropping off like flies. But now that we've got this medication, now that we've got education, awareness, and prevention messages, the seriousness of the virus has kind of gone away. But yet when I found out that my friends were dropping like flies, and I didn't quite understand. Like my friends that were black and gay were dropping like flies. I didn't have any white friends or any Hispanic friends or Asian friends that were dying of HIV. It's just my black gay friends, and I didn't quite understand that. A lot of it stems from low self-esteem because a lot of them were rejected at home. And they didn't feel that they could find the love that they needed, and so they went out and tried to find it in either in drugs or drinking or sex. And when you add those two together, and one together, your inhibitions are down, and your likelihood of you spreading HIV is higher.
And one thing that you have a relationship.
Yeah, I have a husband. We've been married since August the 7th last year, 2009.
Good for you.
Thank you. And legally married.
Awesome. In Maryland.
Say again?
You married in Maryland?
No, we married in Provincetown.
Wow.
Massachusetts. And the water, the blue water is on the beach, and it's really beautiful.
I saw the pictures on the internet, and you made a beautiful couple. But my question is, how important is the love and the affection, the support that you get from your husband in your health?
He's my cornerstone. He literally tells me what I shouldn't be doing, what I should be doing. He's it's a typical husband. He tells me exactly what to do. This is not good for you to eat. You need to start eating this, and it's really important, especially when I came out as HIV positive and I was so public about it, that you had that support system. You may not have a husband, but you might have friends that will support you, and that's just as important.
And I read that when you met him, you told him that you was HIV positive, and he was okay with it.
Yeah. Actually, when we met, the first night that we met at the DC Eagle, I told him, I said, well, there's something I have to tell you, even before I call you tomorrow or whatever. I'm HIV positive. And he said, okay, well, you still haven't given me your number yet, so where's the pen and paper, So I was quite happy that he didn't care.
And one of the best medicines, I believe that for any kind of medical condition is the support that you have of people, your relatives, your close ones. And when people reject people who are HIV positive, they're not doing a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's when I came out to my dad and I told him that I had HIV, and he was fine. I could tell he was hurt, but he took it in stride. My mother, it was awful. Somebody had called her and told her, and my family called me and said, "We heard you had AIDS." And I said, "No, I don't have AIDS." And then they were like, okay, yeah, we heard you had HIV. I'm like, yeah, that's true. I can hear my mother crying in the background. I can hear my family crying in the background. And I told them, do not cry for me. Be strong with me, because I can't do this without you.